All right. So I'm starting a little bit early because I'm just gonna first of all go over what everything is about. Um, so yeah, gonna wait for everybody to start joining. Okay, there's some people. Um, yeah, like I said, this is a little bit early because just like a couple minutes. I just want to go over that this is for HAHCon, which is basically an online imaginary convention for people to live stream and everything like that. I'm gonna go over some voice acting stuff and try to do it right and try not to miss things and try to get as much as I can and possible with being as informative as possible. Um, but hi, people. So, this isn't really gonna be. I mean, you guys can ask questions, but this is mainly going to be me just talking about voice acting stuff. Basically, I'm going to be going over microphone purchases, voice, like MLP voice breakdowns. Gonna go over, of course, acting advice, going over how to approach a script, everything like that, and where you can audition, what to look out for with casting calls, good and bad. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited and I really hope people are going to enjoy this and maybe even consider doing voice acting themselves. Or if you already do voice acting, I hope this will help you a little more because, yeah. I mean, there's a million videos on YouTube about voice acting stuff, but hey, this is 1,000,001. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes until we, I guess, officially start. I'm not gonna officially start till 5 minutes because I know there's people who are probably still watching somebody else's stream that's going on right now. But yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, I'm excited and I'm also nervous because yeah, even though I shouldn't be. But hey, haha. Oh boy. Whew. All right. So I guess like one thing I want to ask all of you are personally, what do you want to know? 'Cause, I mean, I tried to think of as much stuff as I possibly could for this stream, and we only have 60 minutes, so. Oh, thanks for the $2, Lord. Was it Lord Azul? I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I'm really sorry. Um, but yeah, like, okay, so I am getting a couple of interesting questions here. One of them is, my voice is monotone. How do you think I can improve that? Or change or alter it? Well, I am going to be going over that in this live stream. Not like the monotone thing specifically, but basically emoting, getting into character, getting a feel for the script, the scene, the character, just everything. But I guess, my question for all of you is going to be, what do you want me to go over first? Because I have a lot of things. I have stuff about vocal warm-ups. I have things about, I know that sounds weird, literally what you should and should not eat before recording for a session. I have going over scripts. I basically have MLP voice breakdowns. I have stuff on microphones, and I have stuff on finding casting calls, doing casting calls, etc., etc., etc. So let me know. Warm-ups, warm-ups, warm-ups. Saying 3 for warm-ups so far. All right, I'm seeing some things on warm-ups, so I think that's going to be the first thing I'm going to cover. We have 2 minutes. Oh, some more warm-up suggestions. Cool. Hey, bread. All right, we can start now. It's 4:59. I'm impatient. Okay. Vocal warm-ups. That is a really interesting thing. So basically, vocal warm-ups are like an athlete. You're like an athlete. You're an athlete with your voice. Basically, what you want to do is warm up, because if you're an athlete, if you don't warm up, you can really hurt yourself. Same thing goes with your voice. You need to be prepared. I have a resource document that should be in the description that has a lot of different resources for vocal warm-ups, different YouTube channels that go over that stuff. But honestly, I think the best thing to do would be, just go on YouTube and just literally, I'm not even kidding, literally just type in vocal warm-ups. Because, it's so important because, if you just woke up, your voice is probably going to be a little, gravelly and everything. And yeah, so, I probably sound like Sunset or Raven right now. Yeah, no frog talk. Okay. Basically, there's so many things you could do. You can do something called sirens, which is just like, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's gonna sound really stupid. It's gonna sound really dumb. But that is all part of it. And you're going to need to be loud. Like, if you live, I know a lot of people get afraid to be loud because they live with their parents, or they live with their siblings, or they have a neighbor that's always knocking on the door or something. But the best thing you can do is just let them know. Just say, I'm recording right now. I need to do this. I'm going to sound funny or whatever, but, don't worry about it. And, just let them know what you're doing, because, it's a little concerning if you don't know what vocal warm-ups are. But you can do sirens, you can do, I know this can be hard for some people. You can do, lip rolls, which is basically just stuff like that, and just keep going higher, and stuff like that. There's resources in the description that will show you how to do that. I know there's some people who can't do lip rolls like that, but they will show you how to do it, because I know some people can do it, some people kind of struggle with it. But yeah, I mean, I always do vocal warm-ups before I do voice work, because yeah. Do you ever do work before warm-ups? I know sometimes I like the gravelly tone. I mean, I think the important thing is to figure out how to do the gravelly tone, either way. You know what I mean? Because I fear that if you speak with a really raspy tone or stuff like that, you can hurt yourself if you're not in your comfortable speaking range. But I mean, you know what? Obviously it is up to you. If you know how to properly work your voice without hurting yourself, if you ever feel any pain whatsoever, please stop or take a break. I mean, there could be a voice that you're very, very comfortable doing, but you got a lot of lines of screaming or yelling or really overexcitement stuff. Recently I had to do Rainbow Dash for this script. I can't really say anything about it. I'm sorry. But I had to do a really excited Rainbow Dash, and then I had to do one where she was really angry. Like, oh my god, you suck, And she's very, very, very punchy, very loud. Rainbow Dash is so loud. And to do her voice, my vocal cords kind of squeeze a bit to get that narrow sound. It's very, middle sound, like that. Kind of it's almost like a baby, but she can kind of tighten the throat a bit. and I had to kind of split it. I had to kind of split the script, the script, my voice work through a couple of days, because there's so many lines for her, again, either being excited or angry, just really loud projecting stuff. So I would just record a bit of that till I was like, okay, now I'm kind of getting a little, fatigued. Okay, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna do something else, because the deadline isn't coming up for a while. And then either later or tomorrow I'll continue. I mean, I think it's very important to know your limits. Like, I know a lot of people want to be like, oh, well, I've been voicing Applejack for 80 years and, I've just done her so much. But I mean, I think everyone has their limits. Like, you could be really good at I don't know, Granny Smith. But when it comes to Apple Bloom, it's kind of squeezy sort of thing. So just, again, I know a lot of people want to be the most amazing voice actor ever. Oh, I can do 5 million trillion voices and I can sound like every, Pokemon in the world and stuff like that. But again, everyone has their limits, everyone has their strengths, and everybody has their weaknesses. So it's really good to know what yours are. Like, for me, as much as I would absolutely love to voice Discord, I'm not even kidding. I really like Discord, and if I was a man, I'd love to voice Discord, but I can't. That's just, it's not in my range, it's not in my vocal capability. I can't do it. So that's kind of ruled out, it's just, you gotta know, because if you don't, you can really end up hurting yourself. If you're, a very deep voiced guy and you're like, oh man, I wish I could voice Pinkie Pie, but if you're straining and everything, and it really hurts and you're trying to straighten your throat, you could damage your voice. You could damage your vocal cords. And you can give yourself a sore throat. That's something that I learned when I first started doing voice stuff with Pinkie Pie, because she is very projecting, very loud. When I first started doing voice acting, I didn't know anything about vocal warm-ups. I didn't know it. Of course, I didn't know anything. So, I was very, trying to push into that higher range, and my voice wasn't there. My voice was very, I think I just barely hit puberty. My voice was very low, and it was very nasally, and I couldn't, I was like, oh, hi, I couldn't even get that high. But it just takes practice, and you gotta just take it really easy. You really do, because you just gotta pace yourself, because anything voice acting or singing related, vocal related, is gonna take time. It's not gonna be something you're gonna just do for an hour when you've never had any experience whatsoever in your entire life, and you're gonna be amazing at it. It takes a lot of practice, and it's really great once you get to know your own voice and everything. And you can, again, just if you're sitting here oh man, but my voice is kind of low, or well, my voice is low too. I never thought I was ever gonna do voice acting. Ever. Never considered it. Nope. Out of the question. I thought I was going to be an animator. I really thought I was going to be an animator. But yeah, I found a love for voice acting from MLP stuff, so I just thought it looked fun, and I was like, I want to try it one day. And it took me years to get comfortable with my voice, and especially my singing, and just find what is good for me, there's a lot of MLP characters I'd love to do, but it's just, it's not there. And it probably won't ever be. But it's good to find the things that make you happy. Find the things that you enjoy. What was I going to say? Anyways, yes. Vocal warm-ups, lot of things in the resource document down below. There's so many things down there. There's things, there's voice acting websites by D. Bradley Baker. There's YouTube videos. There's so much down there. So I have another question. What else do you guys want me to cover right now? So I went a bit through vocal warm-ups, but most of it is just there in the resource document. But is there anything else you want to see me do next? Hear me do? Talk about? Are you still learning voice acting? That's a good question. Every single day. Every single day I am working to improve myself and learn. No matter how good people say I am, no matter how many compliments I get, I am every day working to improve everything, every aspect, even characters I'm 100%, 110% confident in. You know, I'm always working to improve my technique and my impressions and my singing and, you know, everything like that. Because there's always room for improvement in anything you do. Oh, screaming. That is a really good one. That is something that I see a lot of people struggle with. Like, believe it or not, like screaming. You sit there thinking screaming. Oh, well, that can't be too hard. It's just screaming. But screaming is something that a lot of people are deathly afraid to do. It's just something that I used to be afraid to do too. Screaming is literally something that you just have to do it. You can't think. You just have to do it. Because you get caught up in, oh, you know, I gotta scream for Twilight. Okay, here we go. Spike! You know, it's... Or, Spike! You know, you're like, oh, I can't get it out. Like, what's wrong with me? Why? It's because you're worrying. Singing, voice acting is very, very, very mental based. It is something that is very based on, oh, I'm nervous right now. You know, I don't know. Like with singing, like screaming is almost... screaming with voice acting is as high notes are for singing. You're singing, it sounds good, here comes the high note, ah! You know, you can't get it out because you worry too much, and oh gosh, here it comes, you know. Again, with screaming, it's something you all, somebody mentioned about how to scream without hurting yourself. You really have to learn how to use your diaphragm with this. You don't want to be throaty like, ah, you know, you're gonna like scratch up your throat and be like, oh God, what have I done to myself? But if you don't know what the diaphragm is, it's basically near your stomach. That's the only way I know how to explain it. There's a million and trillion videos on how to do that, but I will tell you right now, at least the best I can. Okay. So, your diaphragm, have you ever laughed before? You've laughed. I'm pretty sure you've laughed at least once in your life. You know, ha 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 ha. If you just say, ha 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 ha. If you put your hand, you know, like your chest, like ladies, this is going to be below your boobs. Just like kind of above your belly button. If you put your hand there lightly and just go, ha ha ha, you know, ha 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 ha. Like try to feel, if you feel your stomach, you know, pulsating, ha 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 ha, like that. That's you using your diaphragm. That's what that is. And when I do something like Scream as Twilight, I will use that to project. That's how you get a lot of volume. I talk a lot using my diaphragm. Like that's how I sound very, you know, I have a very chesty, powerful talking voice. You know, instead of talking like this, because if I talk like this, then this is not using my diaphragm. It's not very loud. Yeah, it just kind of sounds like this. And it also sounds kind of nervous. But yeah, if you just go ha ha ha, you know, you're using your diaphragm there. Again, there's so many videos about this and everything, but that's a very like simple way I can probably go over, you know, how to do that. I'm pretty sure there's somebody who can explain it more than I can. But with screaming, like you're gonna want to use it, and when I like say like I scream for Twilight, you know, like ah! Like when I do that, I felt my stomach push out. But if I did it another way, I'd be hurting my throat. You know, it's like going ah, you know, ah, 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 like ah, 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 you know, very punchy sound, just ah, 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 ah. that's when I'm using my diaphragm, and that's how I scream. I actually really, when I first got into voice acting, I tried everything I could possibly do to avoid screaming. Like, in any project, I swear, I specifically used to make sure there was nothing that had to do with screaming in any sort of context or just being really, really loud in any way. Because I was very, very shy, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to disturb somebody, you know. But I eventually learned that I'm not gonna get better if I can't scream, if I can't be loud, because you hear it all the time in MLP. You know, Rainbow Dash is very, oh my gosh, we're gonna go see the Wonderbolts! You know, she's very loud. And so is Pinky when she gets really excited and energetic, and she's running around, da 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 da! You know, but I hate to be brutal, but, you know, you're not really gonna improve in the dynamics of voice acting, like yelling, screaming, shouting, I mean, heck, even laughing, you know, if you can't be loud. You gotta at least find, you know, a nice quiet space where you can do that. Because that's just gonna help you improve so much. Like, it'll help you improve with your singing, too. You know, because singing is also, Lizzie! Sorry. Singing is also a thing that you have to be able to be loud sometimes, you know, when you belt or whatever. I mean, a lot of musical theater, I mean, opera, like, oh god, opera, yeah. That's when you'd have to be really loud. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Okay, yes. So, screaming and shouting and all that stuff. Again, diaphragm really, really helps with that. Helps you not hurt yourself. And that's how people with screamo bands and stuff, you know, they learn to do the scream, you know, the and stuff without, like, I mean, I probably didn't do that right. I don't know how to without being like you know. There's techniques. I mean, hell, there's even tutorials on YouTube for screaming, like, you know, screamo and all that other stuff. I believe there's actually a video in the resource document on just screaming, but again, it's something that you just have to do it. You know, you just gotta, just like the meme, the old meme that's really dry and stale and nobody cares about anymore, the just do it. It's true, you just gotta do it. You know? So, what should I cover next, peoples? Is this humans and horses and anime characters and whatever you might be. Have I ever done theater in high school? No. We didn't even have theater in high school, actually. I don't think we even had, like, drama or anything like that. How much water should you drink before a session? I'm just gonna say, like, just as much as you need to. I mean, there's no specific amount of water that, you know, is specifically required that you have to, you know, drink and everything. It's just as much as you need. Like, you just gotta feel hydrated. I mean, water, and, I mean, heck, even an apple can help you, you know, it'll help you prevent what's called mouth noise, is when you hear, and I'm very sorry for this because this is probably going to make people uncomfortable, but it's when you, hold on, I'm trying to make it so I can do it. It's when you hear this when you talk, like, oh, hi, how are you? Are you good? Like that's those little sounds and stuff, because it's like, oh God, why? And I think the, okay. That's something that I'm probably gonna get into a little bit more. Well, I'm just gonna get into it now. Screw it. A lot of people are probably gonna hear that, and it doesn't really sound too attractive. ASMR. Well, I mean, you know, if it's ASMR, people like it. But if you're doing voice acting, not so much. I don't think I want to hear people sounding like they're chewing or they got a bunch of stuff in their mouth. Yeah. What the heck? Smacking lips. Okay. So, what do you guys want to hear me cover next? Now everyone's talking about ASMR. Oh, foods. Okay, so this is a very tricky, it's kind of a tricky subject, to be honest. Stuff like milk, anything dairy, milk, cheese, stuff like that is gonna, I know it sounds gross, it generates mucus in your mouth, mucus, snots, boogers, all that stuff that's kind of icky poo-poo, caca, straight from Cockapoopa-Peepee-shire, that land. It makes your voice all like, just kind of, it makes it sound like you got spit in your throat and icky stuff. So, before a session, you definitely want to stay away from, like, milk and cheese and everything like that. I think cheese more, like, dries out your throat. I can't remember. I usually don't do it, so I don't know. Spicy foods, too, can make you raspy. So, I mean, again, why I say it's a tricky subject is because some people avoid this stuff. Some people actually use it to their advantage. So I think it's honestly just based on, da-da-da-da-da. But, I mean, in my opinion, I honestly think that you should learn to do, this, and this without having to rely on the extra assistance of, a spicy meatball, or something, or milk or anything like that. Because I know this is probably far into the future, but if you ever go in a vocal studio, I don't think they're going to be able to pull out a jalapeno pepper just so you can do your raspy old man voice. But yeah, like, I know, here's a funny one. A lot of people say to avoid coffee, but the weird thing is that it just, again, it depends. It's food and stuff is a really tricky thing. I mean, if you feel like you need it or something, yeah, you never know how far that might be. But like, if you feel like you need it, then I guess you could. But if you don't, then please don't. But I don't know. I kind of recommend probably not. Just try to learn to naturally do what you're doing, because you don't want to have someone be like, hey, do you think you can voice Michael Jackson? And then you'd be like, oh, crap. I need a cantaloupe for that one. I need coffee to live. Yes, we all do. We all do, I guess. It's actually, I mean, I don't mind coffee. I really don't. But I also like tea a lot. I think I'm a tea addict. Tea is very good for you. There's actually teas that you can get that are, there's one that I did called Throat Coat, and it makes your voice feel really smooth and just feel really good. Tea is just great. Caffeine free, by the way. Caffeine free tea. That's important. I don't know. Tea is really good. Anyway. Okay. What else do you guys want to hear next? Why am I getting hyper? I have ADHD, guys. Sorry. But I actually do. What kind of mic do you use? Right now I'm using the Blue Spark. I also have an Electro Voice, was RA320, which I usually use more for like narration-y stuff because it's very like radio, warm, bassy sort of thing. But I got the Blue Spark recently and I really like it. Yeah, we're mic twins! Talk about candy. What kind of live stream is this? Why was I about to say Pizza Hut? I don't think they have candy at Pizza Hut. Ugh. Oh my gosh. Oh, actually. Speaking of microphones, I kind of want to go a little bit into microphones. Okay, so I actually get a lot of questions from people saying, I want to get a new mic. What do I get? That is a very, very hard question to answer because there's different mics for different things and specialize in this. Everyone has a different voice, so you might like this mic for your, warm male bassy voice, but then this one might do better for a female's, high soprano voice and all that stuff. But you know what? I honestly think if you're just looking to upgrade or whatever, the best thing you can do, please, 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 for the love of God, don't go on Amazon and buy a random microphone. Please! I've seen so many people do this. Amazon will have these $20 microphones that say in the title, professional studio microphone USB, but it doesn't even actually have a brand and it's just $20. Please don't fall for the $20 Amazon microphones. Please, please, please don't fall for that, because with microphones, you get what you pay for. $20 is extremely, extremely cheap, and it is very rare to find a microphone that's less than $100. That's pretty darn swell. I mean, it's possible, but I wouldn't risk it. Like, you're at least going to be paying $100 for a microphone, but please don't go on Amazon and buy just the first microphone you see that's, I mean, I know, like, unfortunately, microphones aren't the same as, like, food. Like, you could go to a dollar store and get a whole bag of chips that's really freaking delicious for $1. But with microphones, you go and buy a $20 microphone, and you're not gonna have a good time. I'm not gonna name names, but I know somebody who did the Amazon microphone thing, and all you hear is this, and then you hear their voice, but their voice is so much quieter than the buzz of the microphone. It was just, oh my god, it's sad. So, oh yeah, XLR mics are they're great, but if you're kind of like, if you're just beginning and you're not really sure if you want to really get into voice acting stuff, don't go straight for the XLR. Unless you have a lot of money, then I guess you can. But I would say start off with a USB mic. I would have recommended the AT2020 for that, but they're discontinued now. Like, the AT2020 was like one of those things that a lot of people recommended. Oh, you want a USB mic, just get an AT2020. But they've discontinued the USB version of that, which really sucks. I don't know why they did that. I mean, you might be able to find one on eBay laying around somewhere, but it's kind of hard. Okay, so a lot of people are talking about Blue Yeti, Blue Yeti, Blue Yeti. It's weird. Blue Yeti, like, there's so many people who tell you, oh my god, it's the devil of microphones, oh my god! But I'm gonna tell you, 99.9% of those ASMR videos that have really nice quality and they're just great and soothing are on Blue Yeti microphones, because the microphone pattern, like, you can switch them. Oh my god, it was like it's called cardioid. It picks up in front of the mic, but the Blue Yeti, it can pick up from all around the microphone. So they can do voices in the left ear, right ear, front, back, all of that stuff. 360, The Blue Yeti is not a terrible microphone, but it is very prone to problems. I've known at least probably 3-4 people who were like, yes, my Blue Yeti's coming in. And then the minute they got it, like, it was good at first, but either, like, someone had one that just failed. Like, they got it and it was just defective and it sounded terrible. Or they had it for maybe a year or maybe less and it just failed. I used to have a Blue Yeti. And it has, like, the plug that you plug in for the microphone. And it got to the point where, like, it was like as if I, like, threw it against the wall or something. Like, I treated this mic like a freaking god. And, it got to the point where I had to literally wiggle the wire of the microphone just to get it to turn on. It was just terrible. But, again, like, yeah, Blue Yetis they're risky. They're not the most terrible microphone in the world, but they're very, very risky, you know, like, I mean, again, if you're just starting out and everything, it can be a good mic. It really can be. But yeah, like, I mean, they're hit or miss. They really are. Yeah, Blue Yetis are very good for, like, whispering and everything like that. What was I going to say? Oh my gosh. Oh, eliminating echo. That's actually really, so, oh god, this is a whole other thing in itself. Echo is very dependent on your room. If you're recording in a room where there's barely anything in it, and it is a big room, and there's nothing on the walls, no padding, nothing, you're gonna get a lot of reverb. Because basically what happens when you talk is your voice, like, sound bounces off the walls and back into your microphone. So all that reverb that you hear when you walk into an empty room, that's gonna be what you're gonna hear on the recording. If you walk into a room where there's no echo and it sounds pretty darn good and your voice sounds very centered, that's what you're gonna hear. You know, I mean, it's not, your microphone isn't a magical being that's gonna cut out every single background noise and all this echo and everything. You're gonna hear what you're hearing. So, yeah, unless, you know, with a few exceptions. But, you can buy padding, but I think the best thing to do would be to either, there's so many ways, like, you can get rid of echo. Like, if you have, like, a computer desk, you know, monitor, you could even put a blanket over yourself and the monitor and the microphone, and that'll sound pretty good. I mean, that's what I do. I'm not doing it right now, but that's what I do when I record. Like, make sure it's like a thick blanket, not like super duper thick, but make sure, like, you know, it's nice and, you know, soft, like a comforter or something, you know. That can do a pretty good job. But yeah, under a blankie. My goodness. But yeah, like, if you don't want to, like if you live in an apartment where your landlord's gonna flip shit because, you know, you're pinning things to the wall or hammering things, just do the blanket thing. Like, seriously, like, as long as your audio sounds good and your acting is on par and all this stuff, the director's not gonna care that you record under a blanket. You know, I mean, he probably won't even be able to tell. It's like, hey, you know, it sounds good. But the only thing I'm gonna tell you about what sucks about the blanket is, in the summertime, if you don't have a cool room or had the air conditioner on before, it gets very, very, very hot. This is something that people never tell you. I've seen so many videos about, oh, putting a blanket over you, and I'm like, yeah, but they never tell you how hot it can get under there. So in the summer, it is atrocious. Just make sure, like, if you had an AC in your room or something, like, you put it on for a little while before you start recording, so it's at least a bit cool, you know? And don't be afraid to, like, toss off the blanket and just, like, walk around your cool room for a bit and then just come back to it. Do it under a blanket wearing only underwear? Okay. I mean, hey, if it works, then I guess it works. Okay, so this is a big topic, kind of. Wait, actually, you know, before I get to that one, no, actually, I'm trying to figure out. Okay, I'm gonna ask you guys: should I go over finding projects to audition for first, or should I go over basically kind of analyzing the script that you're given? I mean, I'm thinking the script thing, because that's kind of, you know, essential if you're auditioning anyway. I think, you know, I think I might go over the script thing, because that's kind of a first thing you need to know. Okay, so basically, the things that you need to ask yourself when you know, say you find a casting call, whatever. And there's the lines there. You need to ask yourself, who are you playing? Like the who, what, when, where, why. You know, like who are you playing? What is going on? When is this happening in the story? Where is this taking place? And why the hell is your character feeling this way? So, who are you playing? I'm gonna go with Rainbow Dash. Why not? Okay, so I'm Rainbow Dash. You know, you can say I'm Rainbow Dash. Yeah, Rainbow Dash. What the hell's going on? Like what's happening right now? Like, I mean, if you have, okay, I think I might pull up an example. Hold on. Let me find like your basic MLP transcript. Oh my gosh, I forgot to type in MLP. That was super vague. All right. Yeah. Oh my god, there's so much here. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna click on this one. All right. Let me switch to the desktop. Yay! Sorry. Okay, I just clicked on a random episode, because why not? So, this is, transcript, but this is essentially, your script, okay? Just gonna go somewhere. I don't know. Okay, so... Okay. So, we got Starlight here. Okay, let's just, go from... we're just gonna go from the top, because it's easier. So, who the hell are you? Hey, Twilight, right? You gotta analyze the context. Like, okay, you're Twilight Sparkle right now. And, basically what you want to... This is hard to explain. Holy shit. Basically what you want to do with your script is read through it. Just analyze it. Just read the lines, and you can kind of get an idea of what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, Twilight, this happened when we were gone. Wow, these places we would like, usually scripts will say what's going on. They'll say, like, oh, they're looking at this, and, I mean, I think they're looking at let's see, I think they're looking at a map here, right? They're mentioning the MLP movie. I know that. So this is what I can get from this. Talking about Mount Eris, we all know about that because MLP. What about the unicorn? What do we talk here? Tempest, so they're having the main six. What I can gather from here, they're having a discussion right now. They're just having kind of a casual discussion. I think this was when the map, showed all the the new locations from the MLP movie. So I'm gonna guess that they're looking at the map. I guess they walk into the room. Twilight Sparkle is saying, this happened while we were gone. She's probably amazed. She's like, whoa, what is this? What, this wasn't here a moment ago. It's good to walk yourself through these scenarios. Your Twilight, there's just the line, this happened while we were gone. Well, how is this going to be said? Is she amazed? Is she, surprised? Just kind of run yourself through, this wasn't here before. What's going on? Where did it come from? What is it? Stuff like that. This happened while we were gone? And Applejack's just, amazed right here, whoa, this is so cool. This was all played, wow, these are all the places we went when we left to save Equestria. She's amazed. Whoa, that's pretty cool. You really got to take time to just, kind of analyze it. Analyze how the character's feeling. How would you feel? Again, they weren't there before. They came back. This part of the map is there. Wow. It's already magical. We know that. So that's pretty cool. But wow, and how does it know? It knows. That's so cool. These are all the places, we have already seen before. That's so cool. And, of course, you got Rarity here. There's that horrid town where we were almost sold. Just think about that. And Rarity's perspective, just, I'm all excited because of the Applejack line, but, just take time to, like, especially if you're doing multiple characters, though, I recommend recording one character at a time. Um, that's a bad memory, right? Remember in the MLP movie where Capper tricked them, just think back to that as Rarity, just like, oh, that guy, he tricked us. He tried selling us to that mole rat thing, that was just a simply awful time, So just, there's that horrid town where we were almost sold, just, I didn't like that one bit. Disgusting, just, despicable, that's a bad memory. This is something that you need to walk yourself through, because there's so many people who will just, like, rush through. This happened when we were gone. Wow, these are all the places we went when we left to save Equestria. Oh, there's that horrid town we were almost sold. Like, it's so bland. Just think of how the character's feeling. How would you feel? You gotta put yourself in their horseshoes, essentially. How are you feeling right now? Just take the text, context, there's so much context here. And then Rainbow Dash comes in, and this is an interesting one, is changing your emotions. Like, she's excited, like, pirates? Come on, pirates are awesome, guys. They're super cool. The pirates, they were pretty awesome. And then there's that awkwardness, they were gonna throw, once they decided not to throw us overboard. Because they are gonna, like, oh gosh, we're about to be thrown off a ship, guys. Like, remember that? You kind of got to discuss it with yourself. It's a lot of fun. That's some tips I have for reading scripts and everything. And you got Pinkie Pie. Oh gosh, Pinkie Pie is always fun. Starlight wasn't there. Like, you read the context. And Mount Eris. Oh, Starlight. Did you know we made seashells for? I don't know how she's saying it. I think she's stretching out her words. That's another thing you gotta consider. Like, how is this being said? You just see inhales, all the sea ponies. So I mean, I can't remember this freaking episode, for the life of me. But I'm guessing she's, she's Pinkie. Come on, she's Pinkie. She's dramatic. She's silly. She's quirky. Just. And Mount Eris. Ooh, Starlight. Did you know we made seashells for the sea ponies? It's like just something really cute and dramatic, like that. Just consider who the character is. How they react to things. Watch the show, just watch clips of them to get a basic idea of how they react. Pinkie Pie, again, she's very quirky and silly, and Rarity's very dramatic. Rarity is like an actress herself. She's very, like, oh goodness, how disgusting, she's a lot of fun. Yeah, and Rainbow Dash is very punchy and kick-ass and, very, very just, she's a hero. She's the hero in her own story. That's who she is. You got to consider who they are and get yourself into their horseshoes. Like, it's a lot of fun to just, like, look through these. I think another thing is to watch cartoons, anime, live action stuff too. Definitely watch, like, movies with real people in them. Because, like, it'll give you a lot of ideas on how to approach things. How characters will say this, that, and the other thing, how they'll react. Like, especially if you're doing My Little Pony stuff and you're doing, Starlight or Applejack or Rarity. Just watch a bunch of episodes focused on them and, see how they handle things and, little quirks, how they say things, stuff like that, how they would feel about this, that, and the other thing. Just, you really gotta take time to get to know your character. That's very important, because if you don't, like, you can do the greatest Applejack in the world, but if you got the Fluttershy demeanor with it, just, huh? If you're going like, well, I don't know about that, are you sure we should be doing this? Like, that's Fluttershy. That's Flutterjack. Or Appleshy. I don't know. It's good to know who they are, And, yeah, like, that's definitely something I recommend, is to just go through it, get to know your characters, there's so much. Like, just think about, another thing is think about, again, like the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Like, what's going on, like who's your characters, all that stuff. What has happened up to this point? Like, if you have a character line that they're angry, like they're frustrated, just think of all the things that led up to that. Like, remember the episode with, was it Rainbow Dash, the older elderly ponies? She really wanted to ride that roller coaster thing, but maybe she's getting frustrated, like, all day she's been trying to do it, but they keep distracting themselves with something else, and she has to take care of them because she, because I have this really big responsibility because Applejack wanted me to do it, and I really want to ride that thing, and they're just taking so long. It's just I'm frustrated. So you got to think about what led up to that point. And, again, where the character is also plays a part too. If your character's scared, because they've been captured by Chrysalis and taken to the hive, and they're imprisoned and they don't know how to get out, and they're terrified, and you're Fluttershy, and you don't know what they're gonna do. Do they eat ponies? I don't know if they eat ponies. What if they eat me next? Stuff like that. It's a lot of fun to just experiment with. One thing that I highly recommend you doing is finding friends to do it with. Even if they're not, VAs, if you will, like, even if they're just friends who just like ponies and everything, you gotta play pretend. Just make up an adventure. Make up, like, just, I don't know, Rarity, she had a really bad hair day and it's on shambles and she doesn't know what to do, and her friends have to help her, and, but Twilight's trying to find some special spell to try to get her hair back, and the others think it's not such a good idea, but they're debating, and while Rarity is just miserable and she's trying to get them, stuff like that. It is just so fun to do. Find friends to just play pretend with. Like, remember when we were little kids and we used to run around the house screaming because, oh my god, oh my god, the aliens are coming, we used to do that, no problem. But then, as we get older, we get this thing in our head that, oh, well, that's, childish, that's silly, come on, like, I'm an adult now, like, that's weird, like, why would I be doing that? But that's what voice acting is, you gotta kick into that little kid thing that you once had. It's very, very, very important, because, again, like, as kids, we had no problem screaming and making a fool of ourselves in the living room floor, with our action figures, kicking the crap out of each other. So you gotta be willing to do that with, just your friends, or even just, like, yourself, just, like, start recording something silly, just go all out and just have the most fun you can have, just be a free spirit, just try to block out, oh no, like, I have neighbors, or, oh no, what if I sound funny? Like, what if I sound childish? Try to block that out and just do it. You just gotta let go and just have fun and do it. I mean, like, Tara Strong and, E.G. Daly and Debbie Derryberry and Gray Delisle, Rob Paulson, Jim Cummings, all those people, they do it all the time, and they're, like, in their 50s. So, I mean, just think of that, like, just have a lot of fun. I mean, it's a great thing to get into. It really is. It is work, but it can be fun work too. And when you have fun with your work, you don't have to work a day in your life. But yeah. Goodness gracious. Oh wow, it is 5:47 already. Holy crap. Boy, oh boy. What do you guys want me to go over next? My neighbors play loud music at 3 to 5 a.m. Might as well give them a taste of their own medicine. That's great. Finding casting calls. Yep, I'm going to do that. Okay, finding casting calls. There, again, there's resources down in the resource document in the description. Casting Call Club is a very good place, especially for beginners, because the interface is very, very simple to figure out. Casting Call Club is basically a free website where you can, excuse me, I burped a little. Sorry. Where you can find projects, you can make projects and find people to help you with them, so on and so forth. But you, as a voice actor, are going to need to find projects. And that all depends, yes, casting call rocks. That all depends, of course, if you get cast. Like, once you've got your, you can get into character, you can analyze a script a bit, all this stuff. You've had so much fun playing pretend, all this stuff. And you want to find a project, just scroll through, or there's a search function, find something you might be interested in, like, say, MLP stuff, of course. The best thing to do is just search for it and try to look for something that sounds interesting. Now, I'm going to give you some very important advice on projects. There are some things you might want to avoid because, to find good projects is, this is weird, but avoid, in the MLP fandom, avoid anything that is, I'm going to make a fan-made, feature-length, 2-hour-long My Little Pony movie. I'm sorry, avoid it. It sounds amazing. It sounds so cool, right? It's a My Little Pony movie. You could be in it. Avoid it. Because I'm going to tell you, even when the fandom was in its most prime, there's been so many people who've had so much professional experience who've tried to do that, and it's never happened. It's not realistic, guys. I'm sorry, but it really isn't. Like, a feature-length, flash-animated My Little Pony movie. Let's put it this way. Projects that would take an animation studio of at least over 100 animators or 200 animators 2 to 4 years to complete is not going to get done by 6 people. It's really not. I'm sorry, but it's not going to get done. I've seen it I've been in this fandom since 2010, guys, and I've seen so many fan-made My Little Pony movies. So many of them looked so good, too. Like, the story was interesting, they had good VAs on. Just doesn't happen, guys. It is a movie is so ambitious. It is so hard to do. It really is. This is why, animation stuff takes a long time. This is why they have, like, a couple hundred animators on the crew. And, again, like, even when the fandom was in its prime, like, this is something that just didn't happen. The only thing you could get close to something like this would be completely, like, an audio drama. Something that's completely audio-based will be a lot easier than something that's animated. Because animation takes so much time. There are so many things to it. There's script writing, there's voice acting, there's directing the voice actors, there's animations, there's storyboards, there's music, there's sound effects, there's so many things. Just avoid it, please. Because it's not realistic. It really isn't. But Casting Call Club lets you filter if you're looking for something specific. If you look up, like, MLP, you could probably find some MLP stuff, anime. They have categories for visual novels and video game stuff like that. Like, it's really interesting. There's some pretty cool stuff that's popped up on there. And I think what's cool is Casting Call also has voice acting, what is it? Oh my god, I can't think. Like, basically, they have voice acting classes that pop up every once in a while. It is pricey, but if you really want to spend, money on voice acting classes, because they're taught by people in the industry, by all means, go ahead. I mean, I definitely encourage it. If you have the money for that, do it. I really encourage that if you want to get into voice acting. You don't have to. But if you have the money laying around, go ahead. I think it's great to learn. It's very good to learn from the professionals. And holy crap, we were like, wow. What is it, 6? Math. 7 minutes. But oh my goodness. Whew. It's just any projects that are very ambitious like that. Like, oh, I'm going to make I'm gonna make, I saw one that popped up that was like, oh, I'm gonna make my own My Little Pony season with 26 episodes and all that stuff. And, they said they needed animators and artists, and it's been up there for like several months, and I look down and there's been nobody who's applied for animation, nobody who's applied for being an artist. I think they only had like 2 people audition for like voice acting, out of like 15 or something. I mean, it's very hard. It's hard, it's difficult to run a project, but anyways, finding projects, there's so many sites like Casting Call Club, there's voice acting forums. I mean, there's a couple of Facebook pages for this. Again, so many resources in the Google Doc. Please, please, please check it out. It's very important if you want to find stuff. Also, please avoid projects that have that are extremely vague. Like stuff that just says MLP project and it has no description at all. Avoid it. Avoid it like the plague. Avoid projects that don't have any information on them at all. Because what the heck are you doing? Like, what are you getting into? Okay, it's a Pokemon project. What about it? What's the story? What are you gonna be doing? How long is it? Yada yada yada. Like, you don't want to get pulled into something, by somebody who doesn't even know what they're doing. Like, you could see a cool, Pokemon project, and you'd be like, oh, they have a role for Ash Ketchum. I want to audition for him. But then you get pulled into reading, like, the Pokemon manga, which is, I don't know how long it is, by the way, which is, like, 100 volumes long, and you're stuck unless you literally quit. You don't want to have that happen. Also, I know sometimes people can, not be good with grammar, but in my opinion, if you can't barely read the description because the grammar is so bad, avoid it. Because if you can't read the project description, you most likely won't be able to read the script. Because it's probably the same guy writing the script. So if his grammar is all over the place, you have no idea what the heck he's talking about, it's going to be the same thing for your lines. And you're going to be stuck, and you're going to be like, what? Crap. So that's some advice I have, definitely. I mean, there are definitely some exceptions with that, but really I would avoid it. But yeah, what was I gonna say? But anyways, I mean, again, the most I can say, left is that there's so many resources for this stuff. And yeah, I get for the billionth time, because Wubcake doesn't know what to say anymore. Check it out. But is there anything else you guys want me to talk about? Because we only have a few minutes left. Do you think there's acting classes in college? I think it depends. Like, if you have something like theater classes, there are some people who recommend getting into that because it can be a first exposure for acting. But if you're like me and you're not comfortable doing body acting, I wouldn't recommend it. But if it's something you're genuinely interested in, then definitely go ahead and do it, Yeah, improv's a nice skill to have, definitely. Here's one. Is it okay to just voice act as a hobby? Of course it is. Of course it is. You don't have to, go into voice acting thinking, I'm gonna work for Cartoon Network one day. I said Cartoon Network because I actually have a Cartoon Network shirt on. You can just do it, just doing comic dubs. That is actually a good thing to cover. Comic dubs are a very, very good starting project to do yourself. It's very good, especially with, going over voice acting lines, because in just the panels and art, there's so much context with, the character expressions and what's going on. It is a very good starter. So I definitely recommend, if you want to get into voice acting, start doing some comic dubs. Oh, yeah. But yes, of course it is okay to do it as a hobby. Do you ask for permission for comic dubs or just do them? It's funny because I mean, I want to say yes, ask for permission, but honestly, I've never ever ever met anybody who got pissed off that I did a dub of their comic. I mean, I think it's all right as long as, the description doesn't say, "Oh, don't dub my stuff." I think I've only seen that one time. I've only seen one person that ever said, "Don't dub my comics." Um, but as long as you put the link to the comic in the description, you should be fine, and say who it's by, as long as you credit them. You need to credit them. You really need to. As long as you do that, I mean, it should be fine. I mean, if you feel like you need to ask for permission, then please do. Oh my god, it's 5:59. Yeah, I know I haven't covered the MLP voice breakdowns, but I am going to probably try to do that in another live stream. Because this was actually a lot of fun. I really like doing this. And yeah, I'm sorry I didn't really get to that part, but I'll definitely do another live stream where I'll talk about that, because a lot of people, they're curious about that. I get those questions all the time. How do you do this voice? How do you do that voice? How do you do that? So yeah. I'll try my best to explain the technicalities. Anyway, it's 6:00, so I'm going to stop for now. But thank you all so much for watching. I will see. No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna do the Markiplier thing, but thank you so much for coming. And I really, really hope I at least inspired maybe one person, maybe one molecule to consider doing voice acting, because it is a lot of fun and it's great and it's awesome, and it's just, I love doing it. I love it so much. So yeah, I mean, if y'all have any more questions, like, again, I do live streams, so why the heck not? I in all my live streams I answer questions anyway. So yeah. I will see you guys later in another live stream, or on Twitter if you want to, tweet me or whatever. And on here and on DeviantArt, and yeah. And definitely check out the resource document. I said this a million bajillion times. Oh well. Yeah, check it out, because it has awesome stuff in there. A lot of stuff. So yeah. Bye, peoples! Have a good day.